Welcome back to We Watch We Collect, a baseball podcast presented by Believe Podcast Network. I'm joined by Alex Giaimo. Did I say that
Yes, you
correctly?
got it right.
I got
Yes,
it. I
you
got it.
did.
I got it. I
You're lucky.
appreciate it.
I was going to slap you for the camera.
Probably. Alex Giaimo, representative for Goldin Auctions. I truly, truly appreciate you taking the time out to join me on this podcast. Basically, just to talk a bunch of hobby shit.
You got it. Anytime. Sorry it took me so long to get up and running and just moved out of New Jersey suburbia and finally into my own little apartment here in right outside of Manhattan in New York. So you are my first official hobby podcast or sports podcast since moving out. So
Well, that's
happy to
great
be
because
here. Let's do
now
it.
you're officially you're the first guest for 2023.
Woo!
So that's good.
Jesus.
But
Can't believe it's 2020.
mainly wanted to have you on because this is a baseball podcast, but I also talk of the hobby world too. And you are a collector, a huge collector. Is that right?
I mean, I don't want to say huge compared to the rest of the hobby nerds
Yeah.
slash freaks that I say with love. But I am a collector. I grew up listen, in 1998 when Pokemon came out, I was not to age myself, but I was around like 10 years old, and you can't see it, but like my original Pokemon binder is up there. Like I was obsessed with Pokemon, so I became a collector of TCG way back in the day. And my older brother was always an avid collector. My father, and I know this is a baseball hobby podcast, not only was he a baseball player, like he played in college, and also I grew up with batting cage in my backyard. He played baseball in Italy. Just my family was just a huge baseball. We just were baseball freaks. We loved it. And my father had an amazing vintage collection. So I have so many like avid, like amazing memories of my dad and sports cards, but specifically baseball, to be honest. Unfortunately, my brother's cards are like mostly like, junk wax era stuff. So like when I like me, along with the rest of the world during COVID, when I like dove into my brother's collection, I was like, oh, I'm going to be like rich. I'm going to find something, but like it's all junk. But my dad's stuff is like really cool vintage. Like my love of sports cards pretty much like I like modern, and like as you can see back here, I have a bunch of wax that I've been sent by, Panini and Tops that I've been holding on to for like 2 years. Like I'm hoarding it because like I know that like as soon as you open it, it like loses its value. And I'm just waiting for the right moment. I want to make it a whole thing. But back to my father, like he has an amazing vintage collection, like mantles, Hank Aaron's. He was a huge Mets fan, so there's a lot of Tom Seaver rookie cards and stuff like that. So I fell in love as an adult with his baseball cards, and what makes it so great is my dad like taught me. Chris, I'm sure you can understand this. He taught me the game of baseball. Like I played baseball my entire life too, by the way. Actually, as an athlete with the boys, like pretty much up until like 7th or 8th grade, um, batted first, lead off, and played second. But and then I stopped growing, and I had to, stop playing with the guys, I guess, which was such a bummer. And that's when I figured out that I wanted to be a reporter on the field. Also, this is my ADD taking over. I'm getting really excited talking about cards. I haven't talked about cards in so long. But my dad has this amazing collection, and he taught me the game of baseball. Good. My dad has this amazing collection. He taught me the game of baseball, and now I'm sort of teaching him about the hobby. Like, although he has these amazing cards, like he doesn't understand the nuances about it. He doesn't understand the language and the lingo, and he doesn't understand like why his Tom Seaver card is not a 10, even though in his eyes, mind you, the kid was 7, 8 years old when he collected the Tom Seaver card, but in his eyes, it's a 10 or a 9 or an 8. And I'm like, no, Dad, it's really like a 4. It's not worth as much as you think. And he gets mad about it. So I'm like teaching him the way. So it's sort of like a full circle moment,
Yeah. No, that's good because I got my first collection from my uncle who is no longer with me or with us family, but he gave it to me the classic way a lot of people get it. He gave me his collections from a shoebox, and I still have that collection to this day. It's in my binder. It's right there. I'm looking at it right now. Like that's where I got my cards from, and I still have them.
Yeah.
Majority of them are Yankees because he was a Yankee fan. I'm a Red Sox fan, but I still have them. There's not
Okay,
going
so do you
anywhere.
know I'm a Red Sox fan as well? I'm a Red Sox Mets fan. I'm a weirdo, but I grew up in
That's right. You
Yankees
told me that.
country, so I get a lot of I get a lot of harassment over it. But I'm a huge believer in I don't think that sports and affiliations and allegiance to a team necessarily has to depend on your geographical location. I think that's stupid.
Oh
Like
no.
to me, sports and everything else in life is all about nostalgia. Like, right, you just brought up your uncle and the shoebox, and I'm sure you even still have the damn shoebox. Like, you don't want to throw it out, right? It just means something. So my dad, when I was younger, my mom tried to get him into, this was what I think it was like the early 2000s when the Mets were like super popular and good. My
Mhm.
mom couldn't get him into, old man fantasy camp where they go down to Florida and play where the AAA team plays, and they play with some of the, what is the word I'm looking for? Like the veterans or
Yeah.
former Red Sox, Mets, or Yankees. She couldn't get him into Mets camp. I think it's Port St. Lucie, right? And then the Red Sox play
I think
in
so.
Fort
In
Lauderdale.
yeah.
Um, and this was before 2004. The Red Sox hadn't won a World Series in how many freaking years? There was still the curse of the Bambino. So my mom got him into the Red Sox camp. And I got lucky in a way because it was like 1990. It was like, no, it was like, I'm lying. It was like 2000, 2001. And then I got lucky because the Red Sox won the World Series a couple of years later.
Yeah.
So back to, I just don't think you have to be like, I don't have to be a Yankees fan, even though everyone else around me is my point.
Yeah. No, I get that because I'm living in Albuquerque, but I grew up in El Paso, Texas. There's no teams around. Like I grew up going to like El Paso Diablos baseball games, and I had no team. But
Oh, you're a Texan.
I
Okay.
became a Red Sox fan when I was about 5 years old because my uncle told me about the rivalry, which he shouldn't have. I became a fan out of spite, and it's never changed since. So
So you don't are you like I mean, if you had to like pick an Astro or a Ranger, like what would you
Rangers,
Okay.
100% Rangers.
Is
Not
that
because
only because of like
no,
cheating scandal or like
no,
location?
I know that you're gonna bring up the whole cheating thing. Like, no, like me, I would like to choose. I would choose the Rangers, and if I had to pick a player, I would pick Josh Hamilton. I liked Josh Hamilton when he was playing. I liked him on any team that he was on. I know the whole he had a lot of things
Yeah,
going on with him, but I loved Josh
he
Hamilton, so I would get
well,
his jersey.
I was a Hamilton fan until he hit, there's a lot of controversy
Yeah,
surrounding him about what happened with his daughter, and it's sort of sad. He sort of tarnished his legacy.
yeah,
But if you can look around that.
yeah. But
he, he
I did
he
like
was
him.
he was a good baseball player. He really was. Yeah.
Yeah. But first thing I want to get into is kind of like how you came about to being involved because I know it was just recently, like last year early, when you got involved with Golden Auctions. So how did that come about?
Was it last year or the year before? I mean, technically it was 2020.
Oh,
Well, because now it's 2023,
I think
so it was technically 2 years ago, but
yeah.
whatever. I would say like a year and a half. Me and Ken sort of hit it off right away. He says he's from New Jersey, but I consider him from Philadelphia because I don't know if you know where Golden Auctions is located. You're from Texas and you're all the way the heck out in New Mexico, but he's from a town called not from, but he Golden Auctions is in a town called Runnymede, New Jersey, which is
Uh-huh.
essentially for me, where I am right now, I'm in New Jersey, right outside New York City. Like if I get in my car, I'm 10 minutes away from downtown New York City. But it's about an hour and 40 minutes away from Golden Auction. So it is as South New Jersey as you can get. And like New Jersey is a really long, slender state. And it's basically Philly, which is why Ken is such a Philly fan. So we didn't like and by the way, I despise Philly. I don't like the city. I think the people are suspect. Um, let's go Giants against. I don't know when this podcast is airing, but the Giants.
Friday.
I did work as a Jets reporter, but I grew up a Giants fan. I watched Eli Manning take the team to 2 Super Bowls and win. And I'm gung ho for the Giants this weekend. And I'll never forget. I think the Red Sox were playing the Phillies when I was a little young girl. I was like 15, and I wore a Red
Mhm.
Sox hat. Chris, I swear to God, and a Phillies fan freaking spit on me. I'm not kidding. It actually happened. But anyway, back to Ken. He's a
Man.
Philly sports fan, so we didn't connect on that because I'm like as New Jersey, New York as it gets. And although he's technically in New Jersey, he's really Philly. But me and Ken connected on an intellectual level and a passion level because I respected him immediately because I know that a lot of people think Ken was gifted everything. Like from like his father or whatever.
Yeah.
That's not true at all. Like his dad was a collector and a sports fan, but Ken grew this business from the ground up, and Ken is one of the hardest working people I've ever met. Not to mention like crazy brainiac, like nerd, but like one of the smartest. Not only business savvy, but intellect, sports like almanac up in there.
His IQ is
So
very high. Like
it
in all
must be.
sports. Like his IQ is very high, and he, like you say, he's one of those.
Oh yeah,
Don't kind of cut you off real quick, but he's just one of those guys. Like,
oh
we,
yeah.
like you had mentioned, like people love to hate him, or you just see him as like a
People
guy
love to
who
hate him for
throws it.
jealousy.
Yeah,
Exactly.
he reminds me.
Because
It's weird. He reminds me a lot of Tom Brady. That's how Tom Brady is.
there wow. I'm gonna have to tell him you said that.
Yeah,
Wow.
he
Well,
reminds me a lot of him.
let's hope Ken doesn't go out the way I think Brady's going
Yeah,
But yeah, I connected with Ken on because I just respected the man so much, and I'm a perfectionist, and I saw him, and I immediately was like, wow, he's the end all be all when it comes to the hobby. So like, if there's somebody I'm gonna work for, it's gonna be Ken. I'm not gonna lie, like at first we were, I was like, I was, it was he is he's kind of shy, so it took a while for us to connect. um but now we're like we have this like brainiac thing. Like I'm not smart, like I work hard, which is why I'm successful, but he has taught me so much, about sports history and about the hobby. Like I just listen to him sometimes just on his phone calls,
yeah,
or like he took me to a Sixer. He has a suite. Goldin has a suite, and he took me to a Sixers game, and he was on his freaking iPad the whole time. And I literally, and this is just when I like had just been getting to know Ken. I just started working for him, and you know me, I wasn't afraid. I was like, turn that iPad off, and I like literally made him turn it off for like 5 minutes, and
uh-huh.
I picked his brain about, well, how did you get to, first of all, how did you sell a company for $250 million and still remain, majority owner, or like the head of it? You're still the CEO. You're still this. You're having Netflix, which now I'll talk about. But you're having Netflix literally film a show about you and your brand and your company. Like, how did you get from here to here? So,
Yeah,
um, I just really admired him, and he offered me a job where I could be myself, because I said straight up to him from day one, like, listen, like the reason why I wanted to leave and left traditional sports reporting, sideline reporting, is one, because I don't want to be a robot. Like when I worked for the Jets or the Mets, I was
yeah,
essentially just like a puppet for like these executive men who just tell me what to do and say and smile. And that's why I sort of fell in love with the hobby, Chris, because like I could do and say what I wanted, and be entertaining, and or attempt to be entertaining, and just be myself. And Ken from the get go was like, I want you to be yourself, you know, within limits. Obviously, I can't really be myself,
right.
but he like was like, yeah, he loved the fact that we both thought it was really important that it was always my goal to bridge the gap between traditional broadcast and the hobby. So we thought it was a good idea to bring in my broadcasting, lineage background into sports cards and collectibles. Which, by the way, I love sports cards, but I really am passionate more about collectibles and game used memorabilia. Because there's stories behind
Yeah.
that. That's what I enjoy them. Like that's why I went to journalism school, because I want to tell the stories. So
So
so yeah.
still on golden auctions, like because on this on bleh, can't even talk on my podcast.
That's
I
okay.
like reposting.
You're also breaking up a
Yeah,
little
no.
bit. Say that again. Yeah. It's that New Mexico
But I like
Wi-Fi.
right. But I like posting the reposting the auctions that Golden Auctions has, because they have tons of them. Mostly, well, obviously I'm mostly posting the baseball ones, but I love posting all of them, whether it's just a because I got posted the Sports Illustrated, the first ever Sports Illustrated, which happened to be a baseball game happening, and it was for
Okay.
$100. But I also posted the Babe Ruth card that was for $100,017, which I found weird. But I love posting all of them because like I love seeing the different prices. Like it blows my mind,
You
and
mean
I'm sure
you
it
mean on
blows
social media?
everybody's mind.
You mean on social media, like reposting what
Yeah,
like the final sale? Okay, yeah, sure.
yeah, or like the current sale, because like the current sale, I always find it more, not more, but like I find it real interesting to what the final sale, because like because I've seen on Goldin where they'll put a, I'm just gonna throw out random numbers, like they'll throw a card out there. Let's say it's got 15 days left for bid, and the current bidding
Mhm.
price is, let's say, $10,000. You check back with 2 days left, and it's like
Oh, yeah.
55,000, and it's like, what the hell? Like that really happened in that matter of days? And I'm sitting there like, well, yeah, like that's like what this hobby is. Like that's the
Yeah.
gist of what is going on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no auction expert. I've only been like, and I'm not on the sales part of Golden, although I think I could sell the shit out of anything.
Yeah,
No offense to my coworkers, but that's not my passion. I don't want to be a saleswoman. I think my passion is selling myself and,
yeah,
and selling, whatever it is I'm talking about. But, my coworkers are really, really freaking good and at their jobs, and nobody is better than Ken. And what I've noticed is that within the last out the final, that song, the final countdown, like it
yeah.
literally jumps like that. And like just when it's same thing happens on eBay on a much smaller scale usually.
Oh, tell
Um,
me about it.
you think it's like you think you're gonna win an auction. Like that happens to me all the time. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get this card. And I'm talking about like a $75 card, and then it jumps to 575. And you're like, what the hell just happened? So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm
it's
with you
those snipers on
with that.
eBay. It's those final bid snipers that
Yes.
wait till like the last 2 seconds on eBay, and I kid you
Yeah.
not. So like I know this is like your interview, but it just because I the funny story, and it's just so it like it really just like
No, tell
So
me.
when I was putting together my Mookie Betts rainbow, the one of one finally hit eBay, and I kid you not, like I was bidding for it. I wanted it 100%. Like I will not pass it. So I'm at work, and I'm literally watching my phone every 30
What
seconds
card was
because
it?
it was the 2019 Panini Prism.
Okay.
There's 28 parallels, and I was bidding on the one of one, and I was literally watching my phone every 30 seconds because I didn't not want to get outbid on. And the last like
Yeah.
minute, I was staring at my phone the whole time. I didn't do any work at work. I was staring at my phone because I did not want to get outbid. Because that's how
Did
it
you get it?
is. I did.
Did you get it?
I I did. That
Woo!
that rainbow is 100% complete, and there's a one of one in the world, and it's mine.
Yay! I love Mookie. I'll never forget the fact that they traded him. He wasn't even a free agent, right? They traded him. Who did they
Yeah.
trade him for? And then the Dodgers
They
went on to win
they
the World
they
Series.
traded him and David Price. They got Alex Verdugo, Connor Wong, Jeter Downs, and I believe Cash. Which,
Wow. So that was a big L. That was a
yeah,
huge L.
because two of those prospects are gone, and that sucks.
Yeah. Jeter Downs supposed to be really good? Like he was actually named after Derek, right? And he was
Yeah,
a huge train wreck. Yeah.
and he's gone.
Well, fail
So
there. But now Mookie is, I know he's a Dodger now, but I don't know what happened to him last year. He had a down year. So hopefully he comes back because he's a good guy. I really like him.
me too. I collected him a lot, and when that happened, like as a collector, it's so weird. Like you could probably attest to it. It's like I guess for me, it's casual collector. Like you see certain players on a certain team, you collect them. You want them in that jersey, and then when they get traded or or free agent, they go to another team. It hurts. Like it's
I
like
know.
what
I know.
I did not collect Mook. I don't collect Mook anymore because everything he's in
Yeah.
is a Dodger jersey. I will not collect him in
Yeah.
a Dodger jersey, and
That's
it's
why
not
I
being
don't really
petty.
PC. Keep going.
And it's
Sorry.
yeah. Oh, sorry, but it's not being petty. It's just Dodgers are on my team. I liked him when he was on the Red Sox. So that's
Of
why I won't
course.
ever collect him in a Dodger uniform. Even my buddy who
Like I'll
owns it. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
sorry. I keep interrupting you. I talk too much. This is why I'm bad at podcasts because I'm used to being the one to like tee people up. So keep doing your job. You're doing a really good job. Keep going.
And even my buddy who owns the card shop here in Albuquerque, he told me, he's like, do you want me to like hold the cards for you that are Mookie and Dodgers? And I'm like, no, like I'm not gonna buy him in a Dodger uniform. He's like, why not? It's your boy, it's Mookie. And I was like, but he's in a Dodger uniform. That's not my team. Like,
I
I don't know.
know.
It's just a collector. You like. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Like collectors do that. Like they collect for the player, or they collect because he's a player on your team. I'm a collect a player because he's on my team type of guy. I collect other players because
That's
they're
why
my
I don't
favorite.
PC. Yeah,
So
I
you,
don't
so
PC
you,
specifically for that reason. Like, it's just like my job one. Sorry, I have to turn my computer on mute. Can you hear me if I mute that?
yeah, I can hear
Can you hear? No, you can't. Never
you.
mind, I'm back. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Um, like I said, you're my first podcast. I'm in a new setup over here. At my, I used to have a giant office in suburban New Jersey. My dad owns a law office, and I had this gorgeous big. I'm sure you remember me posting from it. This big
Yeah.
space, and now I'm in my apartment. It's not tiny, but my desk is this big as so it's hard for me to get used to it. But I don't PC specifically for that reason. One, my job really did. Everyone always says, like, who do you root for? Who are your teams? So I grew up a Giants fan. I know this is baseball, but I'm doing sports in general. I grew up a Giants
Yeah.
fan. Um, but then I worked for the Jets. So now I root for really both teams. And most of my followers are Jets fans. So a lot of my content is Jets related. And I do well if the Jets do well. So I started rooting for the Jets. And I honestly grew up, I was a huge Derek Jeter. Like I had a crush on him. Like I wanted to marry the man. But then my dad went to camp at Red Sox, and I fell in love with the Red Sox organization. And I became like a diehard like David Ortiz. I was going to show you this. My friend Courtney
Oh my
Heedy from
god.
Panini. She works at Panini. And everyone talks a little shit about Panini's baseball cards because they don't have the rights. But dude, look at this card. It's a hollow Ortiz auto out of 32, and this is 32 out of 32. So I love the. It's hard to show it how
Yeah.
cool it
No,
is
I
with
could see it like that.
the
Oh
shimmer.
man.
But I'm hoping Panini baseball cards, make not come back because they really were never there. But I'm hoping that people start to realize that they're cool too. I know Topps has the rights, blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
oh no, I so anyway, my point is I used to like I love David Ortiz. So I at my home office in New Jersey, I have a an Ortiz game used jersey signed, and I want to collect something like that because I guess he's not a lifetime Red Sox because he was on the Twins first, which everyone forgets about, but I knew he was like on the
Yeah.
team. And I sort of fell into like loving Bowman because in the beginning of like, I started doing a little like, screwing around with breaking and stuff, but like I love Bowman because I love the idea of prospecting for these players that you have no freaking clue who they are, but you like get to like follow their careers. And I started pulling a lot of Robert Hassel. Then I started talking about, do you know who Robert Hassel is? He was like the
Yeah.
top prospect on the Padres, but then, yeah, but then during the Juan Soto trade, the Padres traded Hassel to the Nationals. So anyway, I'm like a
Right.
huge Hassel fan because I almost had his rainbow. I would show it to you, but it's off to PSA. It's actually my first cards I've ever shipped off to get graded. But yeah, I don't PC because mainly because my job has sort of ruined that aspect for me. Like I root for players that I know are good people. Like I know it's like, oh, that's corny, but it's true.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of the current Jets or the Giants, and I know a lot of the current Mets, and like I know who's a good guy and who's not. I know who treated me well and who didn't treat me well. I know who treated another reporter friend of mine shitty, so I don't want them to succeed. So the same, it goes hand in hand with sort of collecting personal individuals, and I also don't want to like rely like put all my happiness into one person when I can just collect
Yeah.
everyone. But everyone has their own. A lot of people love to PC, so Mookie is your guy. Like, would you sell him, or like, do you sell Mookie, or are you just like holding on forever to the grave?
So I have for sure I have one card that I will take to the grave with me. That is the 20 oh my gosh, 2014 Topps update Mookie Betts rookie card. I sent that in for grading
Okay,
and I got it back a 9.5. And
obviously
for
for Beckett, correct,
yeah, for
or
Beckett.
SGC.
Beckett.
Sweet. That's
So
essentially a PSA 10, right? That's as good as it gets.
so
Amazing. Congrats
so
on that.
that's what I want to get into a little bit later on in the episode is the whole 9.5 versus PSA 10 thing. So we'll get into
I
that because
mean,
that's
listen. Yeah,
oh
go ahead.
god. But the reason why I is for one because I pulled it. Two, it's been in and out of so many like top loaders, screw-ons, like all kinds of crap before I send it in. And three, the corners are at 10. that is a very hard grade to get when it comes to grading a Beckett card. The corners are at
That's
10,
awesome.
and I love that. So
How
that was
much is
going in the
something
grade
like
with
that
me.
worth?
Right?
Is
Oh,
that it's not a rookie card. It says rookie card
rookie card,
2014.
yeah. Um,
Sweet.
if I had to put a price on it, and this is just a wild guess. Like I haven't looked it up in a long time. Like I don't care to, but I'm gonna say
I'm looking this up. Mookie
okay,
Betts, Panini 14.
and
Prism.
it's a
No, not Prism. This is
9.5.
baseball.
If I had to,
Wait, is this a Bowman?
no, it's a Tops update 2014.
Topps update.
Yeah.
Okay. So listen, I'm the first one to say I'm still not an expert. A Mookie Bowman would be worth a lot more than a Topps update rookie card from Mookie, correct?
Right now, no. I
Really?
had because
Wow.
yeah.
Interesting.
Well, I think a refractor Bowman Chrome is probably worth more, but I think the Tops update rookie card is worth more than the paper first Bowman, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Topps Chrome is
totally.
always worth more
Okay.
because it's shiny. Everyone likes shiny shit. Like I do. I love shiny shit.
Well, I would say Bowman Chrome is worth more than Topps Chrome, though. Topps Chrome.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
it's the
100%.
first appearance these guys ever make. It's like Superman making his first appearance on it's like
Yep.
it's sort of the same thing. No one ever says that, but I just did.
So
Basically, the Action comic is Superman's rookie card. I gotta write that down. I gotta
yeah,
talk to Ken Goldin about that.
1938, and then
Yes, there you go.
1939 is Detective Comics. That's Batman's rookie card.
Batman, right?
So now that we're on that, let's get into it. So the whole, because I've had this debate with my buddy who owns a card shop, my buddy who's a collector, anybody who's a collector. We've had like hours of discussions over this, that a
Yeah.
9.5 versus a PSA 10. Which do you think is better?
I mean, honestly, this is just because of labels, and we're Americans, and all we care about is stereotypes and judging. And obviously, I would say the PSA 10. I don't think it's necessarily better, but because we all have this, you know, natural inclination or stereotype ingrained in our head that PSA is like, the
The end
filet
all be all.
mignon or the cream of the top.
Yeah.
But like, I don't necessarily know if that's true. I really don't. I feel like although I will say this, I can't talk too much about it. I think PSA owns part of Goldin. I think PSA like owns Goldin, part of Goldin now. So I'm a
Oh wow.
PSA fan. But I don't know. I think that I think that SGC over the last year has made like a huge like impact on the market. And I think Beckett really has had like a like a downturn, right? So
I think so.
um yeah, I mean, I feel like if you asked me this question 8 months ago, it would be harder to answer. But like right now, I feel like undoubtedly PSA 10 is um sexier and worth more.
Yeah. So, and then here's the other
Absolutely.
one where I usually bring this up like at the end of the conversation. It's like, but me personally, in my, like as a collector, a little bit of like humble opinion, I believe that the Beckett Pristine 10, which is the black label, is better
Yeah.
than a PSA 10.
But
That's
isn't that
just
like
my personal
impossible to
opinion.
get? I don't
Yeah, that's
understand why they
very rare.
yeah, I don't understand why they do that because if a 9.5 is essentially a 10 in um, PSA terms, then
Yeah.
why have the black light? I don't know. I see that's something I disagree on. I don't understand. I'll have to ask Dr. Beckett that question when I see him at the
Yeah,
national.
but well, nothing against PSA. Like I have a couple of cards that are from PSA, but I like grading through Beckett for the simple fact is that I love the gold labels and it makes my card look pretty. That's it.
No, I agree.
100%
I
reason.
like
Main
I
reason.
mean, yeah, I mean, listen, I am a woman. I like shiny pretty things as well.
Yeah. So that's
I
my
guess it
main
just
reason.
depends. Like, I guess if you're just collecting for yourself, then go for it. If you're collecting to sell, then that's a different story. But if you're keeping all this jazz in your collection, then F it. Just go with
Yeah.
what you think is more aesthetically pleasing to
Oh
you.
yeah.
And I'm also somebody that works very hard for her money. And like I also like in the beginning when I got into the hobby, I was like, yeah, like let's get all this green in. But like in the end, 9 times out of 10, most of the shit that you have isn't even worth grading, to be honest.
No.
So I'm also a fan of like having your cards in like what are these called?
One
A
touch.
one touch, right? Like I'm a fan of that. And like if the card goes up in value, then maybe it'll be worth my while to spend $150 to possibly get a 10, but it could get a 9, but it could get an 8.
Yeah.
And what pisses me off the most about PSA is they don't tell you why it got what it did,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
They don't. Unlike BGS where they do, right? They do,
Hmm.
like, they have subgrades. The PSA doesn't have subgrades, correct?
No.
So, or am I wrong? Yeah. So maybe PSA needs to step it up in that way. Like, I like to know why, like on my report card, I would ask my teachers, well, why didn't I get an A? Why did I get an A minus? What the hell? What did I do wrong? Like, and they gave me an explanation. So it's sort of like the same thing. That's
But
another
and then
video idea I
so
just came up with. You're giving so many ideas, Christopher.
so here's always my thing. Like when it comes, and it's not like bashing PSA, but here's my thing. Like when it comes to PSA, like obviously a 10 is better than a 9. That's just mathematical fact when it comes to graded
Yeah.
cards. So it always makes people wonder because I've seen people like hold cards side by side. Like here's my 9, here's your 10. What's the difference? And they can hardly spot the difference. So I've always said it's like, well, you can probably get a grader who is very anal about certain things on the same card.
Yeah.
Like they might see something they might not like on that 9, but it looks a little bit better on the other card and they gave it a 10 for 2 different graders. So
Right.
that's always how it happens sometimes. It's
And then one of them could also be having a bad day or grumpy
exactly.
or this. So
Yeah.
it really is like, all right, whatever. So I don't know. Grading is whatever.
I haven't
But
graded a card in a very long time, to be honest.
I know.
But
Unfortunately, a lot of the hobby these days is all about money and finances. I'm not one of those, obviously, because if I was, I would not be doing this for a living. I'd be doing something else, like sales.
yeah.
But I don't know. I'm also somebody that will be like, you know, I grew up with men grading like, the girls in high school, like who's a 10, who's an 8. Like it sort of like reminds me of that, and like it's sort of annoying because like a lot of these
Yeah.
cards look exactly like on the scratch the surface level, they all look exactly the freaking same. But then there's this one guy or woman, I don't want to judge
Yeah.
or be sexist, that says, well, I think she or he is prettier. So so it's like weird if
Yeah.
you think about it. It's sort of like,
That's funny that you put it that. I've never thought about it that way. It's like, damn.
I know I'm coming
Like,
up with
yeah.
all these ideas.
So staying on the whole PSA 10 thing, I'll get into another PSA 10 card after this. But what was the initial reaction surrounding Goldin auctions? I don't know if you were there during that time, but the initial reaction, and probably if Ken told you, what was his initial reaction around that whole thing when the Mickey
What?
Mantle sold for
Oh, okay.
$12.6 million? Because obviously that
Yeah,
was through
I think
Heritage
that was
Auctions.
before. I think that was wasn't that like,
That
was
was
that
in
during the boom?
no, that was in 20, that was last year, 2022.
Yeah, to be honest, like I can't speak for Ken, but I'm sure he's pissed that he didn't. I mean,
Right.
he's the businessman. Everyone wants the business. But I do know that it's good for the hobby, and I know that Ken did say that. Like, mind you, it didn't sell on Golden. He would have rather him and anyone in their right mind would have rather their company to sell it on their platform.
Yeah.
And although it sold to a competitor of Golden's, of ours, of Ken's, it was still overall really good for the hobby, right?
Yeah.
Um, that's why I say, like, when a show, like a Netflix show about Golden comes out, even if you work for Heritage or you own Heritage or work for PWCC, I think like there might be a little jealousy there or maybe hatred, whatever. But I think overall, hopefully, it's good for the hobby, right? So
Yeah.
I think in a way, more publicity, the better, as long as it's not like extremely negative and detrimental to somebody. I think it's a good thing. So I think I can't speak for Ken, but I
Yeah.
do think I remember him saying on one of his Instagram lives, because he does like a million of those a year.
He
But I do
does.
remember him saying, listen, props to Heritage, good for them, and it's good for the hobby. So
Yeah. Because
it sold for 12 cents. Was it a PS? It was a SEC.
it was was it? Yeah, SGC 9.5. That's what it was. So then
Right, which means that the one doesn't who has the mantle PSA? Isn't there a mantle PSA 10, or am I crazy? There is,
that's what I
right?
was going to get to next. And doesn't Golden Auctions have it? but
I
it's
don't know.
not for
I
auction yet.
No, I don't think so. I have no idea, but I don't know anything. I can't speak on that. But if they did,
Oh,
I would assume that's worth like $45 million, right? Like that's
that's
pretty
what I
crazy.
wanted to get into. Like what, like your take on what it could be worth? Because I think it was last year. Like I don't know if it was Golden Auctions, but Ken was next to it, and they were showcasing the card. It was a PSA 10, and I don't
Oh,
know if
that wasn't that the national though?
I
I
think
don't
it
know.
was the National. Yes, and I
Yeah.
saw it, and
Oh,
I'm
oh,
like,
yeah. I think you're right. You know who owns it? I think the company that and this is don't repeat this. I don't even know what the company that owns Goldin, essentially Goldin's boss, has the rights to it.
oh,
It'll
ooh,
come to me in
shit,
a second.
I don't
What
even
are they?
know.
Who are they called? It'll come to me in a minute. But
Okay,
yes, so
but
yes, technically, but the
it's
owner is the owner of a professional team. He owns one of the sports teams. Freak, what's his name? I think he owns like
ooh,
Arizona something. Let's Google it. But he owns the card and he says he's never going to sell
I
like ever. But if because he doesn't need the money, he's already literally a billionaire. So 30, 45, 50 million to him
is
doesn't
it
mean anything. Like
Arizona team? Is it a baseball team or a?
I don't know if it's Arizona, like
Because the only owner that I recognize that's a huge collector is Ken Kendrick, the owner of the Diamondbacks. He owns the T206 Honus Wagner.
Honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Wayne Gretzky one. He owns that one. So I don't know if it's him that owns it.
I don't know either, but we'll have to Google that.
Cuz
It'll come to me.
I recently cuz I only reason I asked cuz I recently made a video on it's on YouTube right now where I discussed the value of a baseball card, and like the last thing that I said in the video was will we ever see like a $25 million card?
Okay, did you say Ken Kendrick? Is that what
Yeah.
you just said? So I was right. I said Arizona, the
Okay.
Diamondbacks. He owns he displayed $100 million collection at the National. And he owns that Mickey Mantle card that we're talking about, but he says he's never going to sell it.
Oh
And
shit.
it is a PSA 10. So
Oof.
I did sort of know what I was talking about,
Yeah.
but
So I
now
was
I know
like,
for
you were
sure.
close, and I we were close too because I was like, maybe it's him
Yeah,
because I know he has a huge
yeah.
collection.
So it's the owner of the Arizona D-backs.
Okay.
So
So it if you had to guess like a quick number, if
oh,
that
and it's
card
also called
were to go
Collect.
to
Excuse me,
auction.
it's called Collector's Universe. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I think it would. I mean, I've heard from Ken and other experts in the hobby. They're saying upwards of like 50 million, right? Like crazy
That's
numbers.
what I'm hearing, and that's it because
Mhm.
like I remember I was talking to my dad about it, and like it blew his mind that some of these cards go for, lack of a better term, shit ton of money, and that's what it is. Like it's a shit ton of money, like
Kind of
millions.
disgusting if you think. Kind of disgusting, because there's those of us that are worried about paying our monthly rent, and
Yeah,
but
and it's just
that's another topic that I'm not going to get into. But
yeah, and
listen, if
it's
I had the opportunity to own a $50 million card, I would definitely choose option A of owning a card. But
because
life is life is a
it's just
dream for
so crazy with the amount of money that these cards fetch. And I remember like I had an episode last year where I was talking with my buddy who owns a card shop and my boss who actually is a collector as well, and we are just talking
yeah.
about it where that and my boss made a good point where it's like he doesn't know why modern cards, and it's good that you brought up Bowman and prospecting because a lot of their first Bowmans, like their super factors or super factor autographs, go for a ton of money, but they haven't done anything to show for it yet.
Right.
And that's how it is nowadays. And like he says, well, it sucks because some of these older vintage card guys, like retired Hall of Famers, they're not worth all that much. And it always blows,
No.
like, not blows my mind, but always makes me wonder. And I was like why that is. And I was gonna ask you the same thing. Like,
Well,
why do
yeah, but
you?
that's what took me so long to like figure out the hobby, and I don't think I ever will figure it out. Like players, like to be honest, hot take here, I don't think Mickey Mantle deserves to be the number one card at all. Like Mickey
No,
Mantle was an amazing baseball player, but he was not the best baseball player.
no.
Like, was it a good looking card? Yes. I honestly think his other rookie card is the Bowman card is more eye appealing in my
Oh
opinion.
yeah,
Um, but I don't think he should be the face of the hobby, but he is. It's just the way it is. It's sort of like who made these rules, right? I don't know. I would love to be a fly on the wall, like back in the old hobby days with all the old fat men around the table, being like, "I'm this Mickey Mouse is the car." Like, who decided that? I don't know.
Oh,
Like, yeah, Mantle, and this has nothing to do with me being a Yankee hater. I'm a New Yorker. I'm from New Jersey. Like, Mantle was awesome. He was a good looking guy. I think that has a lot to do with it. He was also white. He was blonde. He was cookie cutter. Um,
yeah.
but was Willie May or Hank Aaron, like, were they better overall baseball players? I think Ted Williams was the best hitter to ever exist. No one talks about him.
I
His cards sell for
100% agree with that.
nothing. His cards sell for, oh, and we're forgetting the man went to World War II to my great, no, actually, my grandfather, not my great, I'm aging myself. My grandfather flew fighter jets with Ted Williams in World War II. Like, he missed a few years, like he missed years.
He
Um,
still came
so
back
I
and
don't
hit
know.
over 400.
Exactly. I think the hobby is slightly like high school in some ways. Like, who made these freaking rules up? Who knows? I don't know.
So then, off like all the big money aside, like from being around the hobby, dealing with it, what are your favorite things about it? Like, what do you like seeing the hobby of what it's going toward right now?
Well, I think that everyone needs to like chill a little bit. It's never gonna. I don't think like hopefully we don't have a global pandemic ever again. I don't think we will during our lifetime. Knock on wood. That was a bad 2 years for a lot of freaking people, me included. Which is why I got into the hobby because I was stuck in my parents' basement.
Yeah,
And prices boomed, but not only in the hobby, in life, like selling, you could pull anything out of, I was pulling anything out of my grandmother's basement and selling it on eBay for like exorbitant amounts of money that wouldn't fetch 70% of what it was 2 years ago or even a year ago. So like I think we all need to like chill because I don't think prices will ever go back to what they were. They're going to level out just like the real world and stock market, just like you know life. Hopefully
yeah.
rent comes down here in New York because it's crazy. And gas is coming down. Eggs are now like $12 for freaking one egg is like $1 now. It's funny because my parents have chickens in our backyard, and like now I'm paying $9 for a carton of eggs, and they taste disgusting.
Oh my god.
Um, I know, woe is me. But life is really unpredictable, and obviously so is the hobby. And I think that people need to stop, like, essentially day trading, right? Like
Yeah,
everyone was date. I mean, I guess we were all guilty of it. I flipped a few cards, like, but like just a couple. Like I've barely sold anything. I'm gonna be flat out honest. I've wasted a lot more money than I've made, like thousands, but strictly because of content purposes and learning. I think that
yeah,
in order to make money, you have to spend it, and in order to learn something, you have to. I had to spend money buying wax and doing that, and it's fun. Um, it's literally gambling.
yeah. It
It literally
is.
is. Which is why I'm like sitting on like thousands of dollars worth. I have way more over there, not on camera, but like I like want to open it, but I don't, right? Because I'm immediately gonna feel more poor when it's open. But yeah, no, I just think that people listen, like, if you're upset about the prices going down, then find something else to do. It's at the end of the day, I grew up collecting Pokemon and Lion King cards, not because of what they cost, but because I enjoy doing it.
Yeah,
And a lot of these, and not just men, women too. I don't want to be, sexist or stereotype, but like, it's sort of like if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. Like, okay, like
yeah,
go cry to somebody else about not making enough card, like money off your card. Like, like get off your pity pot. Like, if it's your full-time job, then honestly, maybe you should think about another career because it really wasn't meant to be anyone's full-time job. It's different when you're like a dealer, like Black Jitted Wolf. Sharon's a good friend of mine, like, or if you work for like a Bleecker Trading, and my friend Jess, who works there, busts her ass. That's different. Like if you sell and deal and trade that way, but also do other things on the side. But if you're
yeah,
literally like only relying on like your income, like just flipping cards, then you're in for a long, I guess, long haul of going down because like I don't think we're ever, I don't know. It'll be difficult to like really make too much money. I'm ranting now.
I don't no, that's fine because it all comes down to like it people people collect or the people that collect to hopefully flip or sell, well that same thing in the future is the future potential. And that
Long
makes
term
sense.
is different. Sure. Yeah,
Yeah, and
exactly.
it makes sense. And it turns out like the like when the like I'll bring up a Bowman card, the Jason Dominguez superfractor autograph, like it's sold I think for over $500,000.
Yeah.
You don't know if that dude's gonna be good in the
No
Yankees.
clue.
Yeah, it's a Yankees, but you don't know if he's gonna be good because if he's not, then that 500,000 is gonna turn into 5,000, and then that 5,000 is
Forget
gonna
about
turn to
being good.
500.
The kid exactly. Forget about being good, Chris. The kid needs to be like the second coming of Jesus Christ to be
Yeah,
worth the amount that was
yeah,
literally spent. But you also have to keep in mind that I know a lot of these people that are buying these cards, and if you have $500,000 to gamble like that on a freaking piece of cardboard, then you're going to be okay if it doesn't work
oh
out.
yeah,
9.9 times out of 10. So I would compare it to me buying a $75 card on eBay is like the same thing as I know the owner of whoever. I know the guy who bought the Dominguez card. It's like him like spending $50 because they're
yeah,
worth they have so
yeah.
much money.
It's like
So it's like
both
whatever.
like equal in like 75 to 500. Like they're different
Yeah.
price of dollar amounts, but it's like it feels the same for him. Like, so I
Yeah,
get it. I
and
get
this
it.
has nothing to do with the Dominguez sale. This is just overall. I think that a lot of times a lot of these guys like just buy these cards just simply for the clout so they could they say like, "Oh, I bought it. I'm the owner." Like,
Yeah.
it's like a contest of you know what. So, who
So
knows?
so like it's funny you mention that because um yesterday like baseball card aside now like we get into kind of like the memorabilia stuff. So of course Goldin sold for 1.5 million the Aaron Judge 62nd home run baseball.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
I was doing something and my sister had asked me, she's like, what would you do if you had caught the ball? 100%, this is the flat out truth. I would have kept it. I wouldn't have sold it. I would have kept it solely because of the reason that he's a Yankee. I'm a Red Sox fan, and I want to be the Red Sox fan that
Oh,
owns Aaron
bullshit.
Judge's baseball.
Um, but I don't know. I mean, I would like to say that I believe you. I'd also like to say if you're speaking the truth, then you're an idiot. Because
Yeah.
like, why would you listen, dude? If you have a chance to make two, like, essentially, I mean, the rumor is he was offered a cut like 2 to 3 million.
That's
We don't know,
It was a
like,
rumor.
we don't know for a
Uh,
these we don't know behind the
yeah,
scenes, but like it wasn't like it was like a behind the scenes deal, which are really hard to, and I've learned this from Ken, they are really hard to actually go through because of all the ancillary essential BS that goes
yeah,
into a sale of that magnitude. But I do think that the man was already pretty wealthy to begin with, and he is a Yankees fan, unlike you, which is why he was at the
yeah,
stadium. And he did. I think he's one of those guys. Like I don't know him for a fact, but I do think he's one of those guys that that really wanted the attention, and he got it. I would love to pick his brain right now, to see if he really regrets it or not. But at the end of the day, what it sold for 1.5, it's still a
one
lot of
five.
freaking money.
Yeah, because
It's
I
still a
mean,
lot of money.
it started at 1 million. I honestly thought it was gonna go past three. I thought it was gonna pass the Mark McGuire ball, the one that sold for 3 million. I thought I was gonna pass that
Did
one.
the McGuire ball sell for that? I don't think it did. It sell for that?
Yeah,
No, no, it didn't.
yeah, it did.
Three? No.
His 70th home run when he passed the record, it sold
I
for
know, but
three
then
million
people get
dollars.
into like the whole like yeah. I mean, the thing with Judge is everyone's saying it was only the AL record. It wasn't the NL record. I
Yeah,
mean, Barry Bonds, if you want to go that route, Chris was way better than all of these players
that
combined. You can make an argument that Barry Bonds was the best baseball player of all time.
he
If you
is.
take away the steroid shit, you really could. Like I remember watching Barry as like a little girl. Like I'm talking about like 12 years old. And every time he came on the TV screen, I would be like, "Oh, daddy, he's about to hit a home run." I would never, and I was not a Giants fan, but I would never change the channel ever.
Yeah,
I was not getting that feeling with Aaron Judge. I don't know. There was just something about it. I don't know.
I
Who
like
knows?
that's the whole thing. Like, don't get me started. Like it. 1.5 million, it's a ton of money. I genuinely did think it was going to pass Mark McGuire's baseball of $3 million, but always in my head, I'm like, why isn't Barry Bonds' 756 worth that much? And it's because of the whole steroid thing. That's the
Oh
main
yeah.
reason. That's the main reason. And it gets
I mean,
me,
he's not even in the Hall of Fame. It's
yeah,
crazy, in
but he
my
should be.
opinion. It's really crazy. And it's I think once all these old time, I mean, this is a baseball podcast. I think once all these, old timer baseball, um essentially all the writers and journalists vote, right, for who gets into all Hall of Fame, they're all going to die out, and then eventually Barry will get in. But then you only get a certain amount of opportunities. I think
Yeah.
he only has so many years left. I'm not like a huge whatever. I'm not like a Barry Bonds, but I think he should be in. I really think
No,
and I think
I
we should
100% think he should be in.
repeat runs. Yeah. So
No, he should be
who
in.
knows? I think baseball, and I work for Major League Baseball, and I have in the past, and I love baseball, but I think that they have a lot to work on, and especially if they want to attract the attention of the younger demographic,
Yeah.
they should really take some notes from other leagues, i.e., the NFL or the NBA, and like sort of get their heads out of their what's, and like
Yeah.
switch it up a little bit, lighten up, like all right, they made a mistake. They admitted to it. Let's move on. Like A-Rod is now the face of like Fox Sports,
Yeah.
broadcast, and like he's all over the steroids game. You know,
And I think he
who
should be in the
knows?
Hall of Fame too, to be 100%
I'm
honest.
not an A-Rod fan, but yeah, I agree with you. He probably should be. He really should be.
So and then back to like collecting and stuff like that. Not just baseball, but do you have like a favorite product that you really love, or that you like the most out of all of them? Like baseball, basketball, football. Like which
Yeah,
product
no,
out there is your favorite?
I I like really like shiny stuff. I love Bowman.
Me too.
I like Bowman. I love ripping Bowman, but it's really hard to like keep up with like the new prospects. Like if you gave me a box of Bowman right now for the new class of dudes, I would have no idea who was worth anything.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of research and time and effort you need to do before you do that. But I think that's fun. Just the idea of, well, this guy, and I also think it's fun ripping Bowman because like even prospects that you think suck, you never know in six,
Never
7
know.
years. It's amazing. Like I know it's a different sport, but look at Brock Purdy right now. He was literally the last pick in the draft,
And
and
now
now his cards are selling for 20 grand. So it's the same thing with
that's
baseball. That's
so
why I like
no, go ahead, go ahead.
not. I like have a stack of Bowman rookies because like you never freaking know.
Yeah.
So
And that's what's so weird about the hobby. Like I know baseball, but like I'll be 100% honest, I didn't know who he was. The Purdy guy for the Giants.
no
I didn't know who the hell he
no one
was. And now playoff, now everyone goes
for
after
the for
his
the
football
Niners.
cards.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no one knew. Yeah.
no one knew. And I'm like, but that's how
Oh
the
yeah.
hobby is. Everyone collects and buys who's hot. It's kind of sad, but it's true. It's 100% sad but true. Until they're not. They're popular until they're not.
Yep.
It's just how the hobby is.
That's
That's
how that's I got news for you. That's life.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Everyone wants
People
something
have
until
their
it's not popular anymore.
people have their 15 minutes of fame and then their old news and that's it. So
Yeah.
that is life.
But next thing I want to get into is a little video that came out a couple of days ago. I don't I if you want to say who they are, we don't have to, but a guy
Oh, I'll say it. I don't care.
okay.
Blez.
Yes.
The Sea Blez. I don't care.
Yeah, the Sea
Yeah,
Blitz.
go ahead.
So
Introduce it.
so the video is of him at a restaurant with his buddies. The phone is out, they're recording. He apparently wants to pay the check with a Justin Herbert rookie autograph card. I think it's
So
a PSA 10.
corny. Yeah.
He gives it to her. The waitress comes back, so and so, blah blah blah. We don't take those cards or whatever. And he's like, "Well, you're gonna want this. It's worth $5,000 and stuff like that." So, what is your
Shut
take on
up.
that video?
Literally shut up. That's my take. And like I'll say this to his face. Listen, I know Blez. I've met him. I've had really amazing combos with him. He's a nice guy overall, but he was being a dick. I'll say it. I don't care.
Yeah,
But, like, look, he got what he wanted. Are we talking about it? Even though we didn't like what he well, I don't know what your opinion is. Even though a lot of us didn't like what he did because it was corny as hell and also tacky and cheesy and rude, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because I don't think a man like Blez knows how hard these women work for a freaking living.
No.
Also, Blez, I know he's not, probably not going to listen to this unless I cut it and send it to him. Like, I would love to see what you tip that woman, especially
Yeah.
putting her through that bullshit. Because put your money where your mouth is, hot shot. You spent, oh, your card's worth 5 grand. Nobody cares. Literally, nobody cares. Anybody outside the hobby doesn't give a rat's ass about your $5,000. It was a Herbert card, right?
It was Herbert.
Which, by the way, is not worth 5 grand anymore.
Nope.
Not anymore. That's what I think it's dropped like half its value. And listen, I'm a Herbert fan, but shut up. Leave the girl alone.
And that's
And like,
you
it's not
said it
funny. It's
exactly. Like she was
not
laughing.
funny.
She doesn't know. She
She was
doesn't,
laughing because
and
she
she
was
doesn't. She probably
uncomfortable.
doesn't care. It's like she 100%.
No,
She does not care.
she was laughing because she felt uncomfortable, not because she thought it
Yeah.
was funny. And also, I hope she knew, or I hope it was him and another man. I hope they got permission to post her video and her reaction.
Yeah.
Because that's like a violation of privacy. I'm just glad C-Bloods didn't do that to like me, because if he did, I would have backhanded the shit out of him. Probably would have went to jail. But like, oh no. I like C-Blaz a lot, but whatever. He got what he wanted, and unfortunately, I wish I had a little bit of C-Blaz in me, because as corny and stupid as this influencer bullshit is, that's really what gets you the followers, and that's
Yeah.
what gets you people talking about you. But I don't, not to say that he sold himself out, but he did
Yeah.
a little bit. But honestly, everyone does it. I mean, not to say that doing stuff that's annoying is okay, but a lot of people do what he did. So I don't want to I'm not going to put him on the gallows and hang him. He did a stupid, corny video. It's not the last time he'll do a corny video. And there's a lot of other people in this hobby that I can list out to you right now that do a lot of gross stuff like that. I want to vomit every day and like comment, but like I can't, because I am a public persona in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
and like I can't like really tell them exactly how I feel, because like I'm afraid of getting canceled. But if they want to have an off the record combo with me, let's go.
Yeah. I mean, oh man, that's what because I saw it and I was just like, dude, you're an idiot. Like, no one, like, she probably doesn't even know who Justin Herbert was to begin with. Like, that's for starters. Like, she probably didn't know who he was. She probably doesn't watch football.
No one knows who Justin Herbert is. Even NFL fans don't know who he is. Like, the Chargers are, God bless them, but they are always a disappointment.
Oh my gosh. But and I hate using this word. I honestly don't like using this word because I think people overuse it. But it was like cringy. Like, it was like
So
like,
cringy.
dude.
And like, she's a hardworking woman. I hate to use this word blue collar, because I feel like I'm even blue collar. Like, I don't do manual labor, but I work really hard to earn every dime that I get.
Yeah.
And like, you being a dick saying, "Oh, here's a $5,000 collar. Can I pay for that?" Like, shut up, pay her bill, and tip her 20%. And I guarantee you, the dude only tipped her like 8%.
That's funny.
And if
You
not, show
sounded
proof.
just like him too. I'm just saying. I was pretty spot on.
Whatever. I'm coming at Blez, but I do think Blez is a good guy. I just, that was just a cringeworthy moment. And I'm sure I'll have one in the future. And if I do, Blez, call me out.
Yeah.
But I try hard not to. It is hard. It is hard.
But I will say
that's the stuff that gets the attention, is the cringe stuff. Unfortunately, it's the world we live in.
Yeah. But I will say, like, that video inside and how his personality is aside, the whole like breaking baseball cards for people and stuff like that. I think it's good for the hobby to an extent. I do. I think it's good for the hobby.
Are you a fan of backyard breaks? Like, what do you think about them?
I'm not a fan of them.
Oh, okay.
No, not a fan. There's very few.
I feel like you either love them or hate them.
There's very few breakers that I'm a fan of. Like Leighton. I don't like Leighton for some reason. I don't like Leighton. I like bomber breaks. Cards. Which one?
You're talking about Leighton sports cards?
Yeah. I don't like.
Well, I know Sarah. She's a nice person, but I don't really watch I don't watch breaking anymore because it's annoying. It just really is. They just scream into the microphone. It was
yeah.
cool at first, but now it's like, okay, I'd rather watch an actual sporting event. You
And
know?
like that's the thing. Like and it's the whole like it's the like do it for the camera thing where it's like okay like you want to hype everybody up who's watching on the stream or wherever they're watching live on YouTube like oh this is a crazy car, let's yell and hype the person who got the card in the break because you want them to come back like oh look how much they hype my card up, I want to come back, I get it, but
Yeah.
it's like tone it down just a little bit like just or not even a little bit like a lot, tone it down a lot because it's like you pull the card, like in my eyes, it's like, all right, dude, that's like $50. Don't get me wrong, like
Right.
value is to person's eyes. Like that's fifty
And I
dollars,
also
but
don't
yeah,
trust any of it, dude. Like,
no,
I don't know, like, what's going on back there, like, what they're doing. Like, I'm somebody that works in front of the camera, and I know what TV magic means, and, like, I know
yeah,
that you can manipulate a lot of stuff. So, like, I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm sure a lot of them do. I'm sure 99% of them do everything like kosher and the right way, but I'm sure there's like that 1% that doesn't and you're going to get screwed and like I'm not going down that way. I'd rather
yeah,
rip my own wax. But then there's also the theory that, the breakers like backyard breaks for some reason keeps getting all these freaking like they got the logo man, they got everything. They got the Babe Ruth auto like because
they
of these companies
they got the logo man. Which
give it to
logo
them.
man?
They got the LeBron James triple logo
Oh,
man,
that's right,
backyard
that's
breaks.
right, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yep. And then they put a bounty on Babe Ruth and they got that. And it's just like, okay, what's going on here? And then, people say, well, it's because they spend so much on wax. But it's like, okay, well, numbers game is like, if they were playing, blackjack, they'd be winning like all the time.
Yeah. So
Who knows?
now that I know, let's talk about that logo man real quick. Obviously, for people that doesn't know, it's LeBron James triple logo man from I believe all the years. Like each logo man is different. One's stitched, one's uh screen printed, like they're all different, all three of them are different. In your opinion, do you think that car should have been graded by PSA? No, not PSA, but they do you think they should have sent it out to get
Well, yeah.
graded?
Well, it's sold on Golden for one.
Yeah,
And for two, you're saying like, because they sent it, in my opinion, it's a one of one. So I don't think it's necessary, to be honest. And I'm not just
that
saying that because I work for Ken.
right,
I just don't think
that's
it's
my point,
necessary,
like
and also, like, if you're gonna buy it, then if you don't like the fact that it didn't get the subgrades or the actual grade, then don't buy it.
yeah, because all the PSA did was grade it was that it's authentic, like it's authentic.
It's a one of one. I like one of my first box of Bowman ever, I pulled a superfractor, a one of one, and, like, I was
I
so
saw that
excited
video
about
by the
it.
way.
Yeah, card porn reposted it, went
I
viral
did. Yeah, I
because
did.
I was annoying
I saw it.
as hell. I screamed like a little girl, and literally to this day haven't hit anything, but, um
I'm so jealous because I have yet to hit a superfractor. I have not hit one yet. I've not pulled one.
yeah.
It sucks.
You'll get there. Don't worry.
I don't.
But but what was my point? It's a one of one. There's nothing to compare it to. So like I just feel like a lot of the people in the hobby just bitch about stuff because they're bored and they want to bitch about it. Like it's a
Yeah,
one of one. Yeah, I mean the owners because they owned it have the privilege of deciding what they want to do with it. And if you don't agree with their decision, then don't buy the card.
yeah,
And most of you don't have the means to buy the card, myself included. So, like, it's really just a whining game. I guess
yeah.
it's
It
also
is.
whining for the sake of, hobby gossip and drama, and it's fun. But I don't, and I'm not just saying this because Ken sold it on Golden.
Yeah,
I have a one on one, and I finally just sent it into PSA, but I could care less if it gets a 10 because it doesn't freaking matter. It
yeah,
really doesn't. You know, I mean, I guess the 1-0 looks better than the 9, but like, eh.
yeah. I mean, that's how a
Also,
lot of
I will
collectors
say
are.
this: the Logo Man card is ugly. Like it was ugly. Like I've held it in my hand. It's a freaking ugly card. Like like I don't know if you've seen it up close, but the logos, I'm sure you've seen it on video, are like they're like Panini didn't do a great job of putting the card together, in my
No,
opinion.
no. Like they're a little bit off, and
Yeah, like they're not even
yeah,
centered, right?
no.
Like, oh,
Like that. Oh, like I don't want to bash on Panini, but a lot of things they do are a little like eh. But I do collect. Like my Mookie Betts Rainbow is Panini. Like I love
no,
Prism.
like the
Like it's
tops is the
beautiful.
same thing. Every company has,
Yeah,
we can have, you know, quirks with every company. Nobody's perfect, including Blaz.
Oh my gosh, that. Oh my gosh, that dude. Oh god, like I don't know
But
any
he
of
makes
those
a lot
guys
more
personally.
money. He probably makes a lot more money than me by doing stupid bullshit videos. So like maybe
Yeah.
I should take a page out of his notebook.
Mm,
Nah, just
mm,
kidding.
no, don't, not at
I
all.
was.
Don't do that. Don't do it. Oh man. But
His older brother is a really good poker player. Maybe I'll definitely take a page out of his
I've
notebook.
heard that before. Yeah. And
Oh,
then
he won the championship. So
so in terms of like memorabilia wise, like not like baseball cards is one thing, but memorabilia wise, like why isn't there that much that's coming out for auction? Um well, I guess to Golden auctions and like as much as baseball cards. Is it hard for people
I think
to
it's just like the stuff is expensive, and I mean, just think about I mean, I'm not an expert, but I just
right.
think it's like simple. Like there's not enough. There's not a lot of the product. Like the athletes only give up. Like a lot of them keep their stuff.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of it's not signed, and then it's really most of it's like really expensive. Like I wish I could invest in game used memorabilia, but I can't because I'm a normal human and I'm not
No.
rich, right? But I mean, and that's why I like game used memorabilia more because it's a numbers game. It's really a numbers game. And it's also like cooler to look at, in my opinion, than a card. Whatever. I'm sure
Mm.
there's a lot of card guys out there like, shut up. But like a card is really a card that came out of a printing press. And an item which was worn by actually Mickey Mantle in the 1952 World Series or Jackie Robin, like Goldin. One of my favorite things about working for Goldin is like we have a ton of like vintage amazing stuff. Like I held a Jackie Robinson with the white gloves jersey that he wore in every freaking game of the season. I don't remember what year it was, but it was like I want to say 50s, maybe
Yeah.
it had to have been 50. And that's freaking cool because that'll never happen again because nowadays players wear a jersey once and they sometimes change their jersey out 2 or 3 times a game.
Or
So yeah, it's
they
a
wear a
numbers game.
jersey once and then Topps gets a hold of it and then they cut it up and put it in a card. They do that too.
Yeah, right?
But
That's also a thing.
like how damn that's because I remember I saw that picture. Like how was it carrying that jersey?
Oh, really cool. Because I think like, in my opinion, Jackie should be like the face of the hobby. Because, like, not
It's a
only
good
was
one.
he like almost just as good as Mickey, like, what he went through to play, just to freaking wake up every day and play the game and like literally not get murdered for the color of his skin is unheard of, unparalleled, and honestly, well, obviously will never be done again because it just won't happen,
Yeah.
hopefully, unless like something crazy happens. Um, but what Jackie is like, Mickey Mantle is a baseball icon. Jackie Robinson is an American icon and hero. Like
Yeah.
it's the difference of like Martin Luther King autographed piece of memorabilia versus like I don't know. I hate to say his name or Joe Biden or George Bush. Like I don't
No,
care if
yeah,
you're
that
Republican or
makes
Democrat.
sense. No, that makes
Like
sense.
there's a big difference.
Yeah.
Like MLK. Like we all had the day off yesterday or 2 days ago because of him. Like because he's a freaking hero
Yeah.
and sacrifices life for us for African Americans. I guess not for me, but you can get the point.
Yeah.
And it's just I don't know. I just feel like Jackie is so underrated. It's insane. It's really insane. I could go on and on about Jackie.
No, yeah, because that makes sense. In that perspective, there's a day for him, and then in Jackie Robinson's case, 42 is retired all throughout baseball and the minor leagues too. Like
Pretty
it's
cool.
retired.
Yeah. And we have a Jackie Robinson Day, and a lot of people don't know this. It's actually something that I just learned this year through working for Goldin. That Jackie went on to be the first Black broadcaster, which was also
I
like
didn't know that. Oh, wow.
insane. Yeah, I mean,
Huh.
he was obviously a groundbreaking everything. So yeah, pretty cool dude.
So it do you have a holy grail of a card or a piece of memorabilia that you would want? If you had all the money
Yeah,
in the
I mean,
world right now, you can go get your grail. Like, what is it?
I know, like right now, my holy grail is like owning a deed to a house, but
Oh,
um, Um, I would definitely think Babe Ruth because Babe Ruth, in my opinion, transcends all sports. Like I just remember growing up thinking that Babe Ruth was like actually a ghost. Like I really thought he was. Like my father would tell me these stories, and then I would watch like all these movies with him in it, and there was lots of American folklore about the curse of Bambino and this and that, and like to me, like, even if he was sort of like a like, not a great dude, and he, like, lived a
No.
really unhealthy lifestyle, cheated on his wife and all this jazz, but, like, to me, he's essentially like a living legend, like, I don't think he'll ever die, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, it
Like,
does.
it's like, you know, um, I forgot what movie it is where Babe Ruth comes in as the ghost, and he's like, "What's up?" Like,
Oh, it's
you
Sandlot.
know, "He
Sandlot.
heroes get remembered, but legends never die." Yeah, The Sandlot. There,
Yeah.
thank you. I, like, literally had dreams about that. So I would say Babe Ruth. I like I always forget, is it Goody or Gowdy or whatever? But I like was it the 1933 Gowdy, the yellow card? I think it's gorgeous, and
Oh, I know what
I
you're talking
like
about.
that the cards yeah, and I like that the cards are square. I think they're pretty cool.
Wasn't
So I'd pick that.
didn't Golden Auctions recently had one that was on auction not too long ago? I think I could have
Honestly,
sworn
I'd be a
I saw
liar if
one.
I said yes, but I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did.
And then
Yeah.
I was going into you had mentioned something. I was gonna piggyback off that. Now I forgot what it was. The what was it? Because you mentioned Babe Ruth, your Grail.
Jackie.
Oh, that I don't know if you know. I barely found out like a couple of weeks ago that Babe Ruth hit the first ever home run in the first ever MLB All Star game. I did not know
Cool.
that.
I think I did know that, but you just reminded me. That's pretty cool.
I barely found that out about maybe a week ago, like yesterday, or not yesterday, like a week ago, like last week. I did not know that.
That's yeah.
And that baseball sold for $805. Eight
I
hundred
know,
and
isn't that
five
funny?
thousand dollars. Sorry, not 805, just
Yeah,
$805,000.
it's pretty nuts. I love Babe's autograph too. So,
Who do you who it, another one? Who do you think has the best autograph in baseball?
like current or
Um,
just like in general?
we'll do
I don't know.
vintage
That's a
guys
tough
and
one.
current.
I don't know. That's really tough. Well, I honestly, Derek Jeter, because oh, I met Derek a couple months ago, and he
I
signed
saw
my
that.
ball for me. And I know a lot of you can't see this, but this is, and I have to send this out to get graded. I'll never sell it because it's a memory for me. And Derek was a phenomenal person to me, which isn't a surprise. But it's a gorgeous autograph. Like he really took his time. And I've also been looking up Derek Jeter autos on eBay to see what they sell for. And they sell for like $500-600, but they're
Yeah,
like shitty autos. Think about how many of these players just like, oh, Derek, will you sign my ball? And they're like, nah, just get it
yeah,
over with. But Derek, like, knew that I would like to think that he liked me. He knew I was, you know, a journalist, and we were also being recorded. So he like took his sweet due diligence time, and it's gorgeous. So I would like to think that mine's worth a lot more. And
right.
there's a story behind it. So I guess that would be my favorite auto. Yep.
That's a good one. I mean, I'm a Red Sox fan, but I respect the hell out of him. I didn't like him when he was playing for obvious reasons, but I still respect him. I think he has one of the top 5 best autographs I think in all of baseball. And another
Yeah.
guy who was actually a teammate of his, I think, is also another top 5. That's Mariano Rivera's autograph. His is up there with top
Yeah.
5. I
Yeah. It was
love
good
his a
stuff.
lot.
Hmm.
But I don't want to take too much of your time, Alex, but I truly appreciate you hopping on for this episode.
I had fun. Thanks for having me. It was good to get back in the quote unquote swing of things. I'm definitely rusty, so you definitely sparked some of my nostalgia and passion for the game of baseball and the hobby. So thank you. It was fun.
Yeah. So then,
I'd like to think I still know what I'm doing. I could do this.
I mean, like, if you get back into, I'd love to have you on later on in the future if it's possible.
We'll do. We'll make it happen. We will make it happen. I You're the first one. You're the first podcast I've gone on in a long time.
Well, I truly
I
appreciate
have a
that.
list. You did a good job. Thanks for having me. Good
So
luck with
then,
jury duty.
oh God, no, I already said it before. I don't mind it. Like it's very interesting. I can't talk about it. Chances of the
Well,
judge hearing this podcast are probably zero, but
sounds
I
horrible.
can't talk about it. But it is interesting. I would not mind doing it again. I just wish it was a murder case next time. So I don't mind it. And I've never taken so many notes in my life. I will say that.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow, interesting.
I've
I
never
didn't even
taken
know you
so
were
many
allowed
notes.
to take notes. You're
They
allowed to
actually
take notes?
supplied me like a little like clear baggie with a notepad, hand sanitizer, a mask, a pen,
Oh,
and a little
he
badge that says jury on it or
Do you
juror
still have
on
to
it.
wear the mask?
Yeah,
Or, like, is it
in the
just, like
courtroom you have to wear it.
it's so okay, great. Well, no
Yeah,
comment.
in the courtroom you have to wear it. But they did supply like a little
Interesting.
notebook. I'm already on my second notebook by the way because I already ran out of pages on my first one because I've been taking
Well,
notes. I was never
take
a note
mental
taker.
notes. Take mental notes.
I will. I'll try. It's hard to remember all the medical terms that they're talking about. It's a pain in the ass saying all these words that I don't know what they mean.
No, you'll be fine. Alright, I'm going to it's late over here in New York.
Oh,
I'm
that's
going to
right.
bed.
Oh yeah, it's 10:20. Sorry. I'll let you go to bed, Alex. Thank you again for hopping on. Thank you to everyone listening. Thank you to Believe Podcast Network. Stay watching, stay collecting, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.